who are either possessed of a demon or oppressed of a demon. And what happened in the days in the life of the New Testament are happening today. And there are people that are in bondage to the devil and simply cannot seem to get out. And so I want to talk to you a little bit ahead of time about how we get into this mess. And so we're going to jump around just a little bit this morning. It's a little out of the ordinary, but it's not been one of those ordinary weeks, and so it would just sort of flow and fit well. I want you to go with me first off to 1 Peter chapter 5. 1 Peter chapter 5. If you're at Mark, just flip back, if you will, to the right. Just go on to the right and keep going. We're going to put them up on the screen, so if you don't get there in time, that's okay. You can see them there anyway. Listen to what it says in 1 Peter chapter 5, verse 8. Peter, in talking to those that were under his control, those who had been scattered because of persecution, Peter writes to encourage them, and in the midst of his encouragement, comes down in the closing verses there, and he says this, "Be sober, be vigilant, because your adversary, the devil, walks about like a roaring lion, seeking whom he may devour." Be sober, be vigilant, because your adversary, the devil, your enemy, the one who would come against you, he is walking around like a hungry lion, looking for someone whose life to destroy. Now this tells you, as Peter talked to those people in his day, it's a reminder to us today that the devil is not bound in hell someplace. Matter of fact, the devil is not in hell at all. He doesn't want to be in hell. Hell is punishment for him. He has free access at this time, both in heaven and in earth. He is accusing the brethren in heaven. He is roaming around the earth, looking for those people whose lives he can destroy. Now let me tell you where we got the devil. When God created the angels, he created them and he put them in three categories. He created a group of military angels. And those angels would be the ones who would do the battles for God. They would be the ones under the control of Michael. They would be those soldiers who would carry out the war. And then there were those messenger angels under the authority of Gabriel, that archangel. It was his responsibility to communicate truth from God to the people on earth. They were the ones who would carry the prayers and carry the messages from heaven down to earth. And there were a third of those. And then God arranged another third, and those were under the authority of Lucifer, that archangel, and they were in charge of the music. They were in charge of the music that would be used in worshiping God. Now, it came a time, the Bible tells us in the book of Ezekiel, that this archangel Lucifer began to be filled up with pride. And he thought to himself, I'm better than Michael and all of his angels. I'm better than Gabriel and all his angels. I've got the ability to stir the hearts of people. And he wanted to exalt himself to be on the equal plane as God. And God said that is not possible. And so he judged the devil and he cast him down. He lowered his position, and all of those who were with Lucifer fell with him. That whole 1/3 of the angels, and those became what we would call today demons. They are fallen angels. They have the same quality, the same nature, the same power, the same ability as the angels. And yet God took some of those and he bound them up and he held them for the day of judgment in the last day. And so there, 1/3 of all the angels have been turned into demons, and they are out today wreaking havoc all around the world. So the devil is walking around and his demons are walking around looking for lives to destroy. So he finds people who simply don't have the ability to stand and defend themselves. And he looks to destroy their lives. And let me tell you how he does it. Now, this grid that you're going to see really represents our lives, and it represents the functions and the parts of our lives, the issues and the areas of our lives. Go ahead, John, and throw that grid up there again. In each of these areas that you see are portions and parts of our lives. Now, what the devil does is he comes and he brings temptation into our lives. His desire is to destroy our lives, and so what he does is he begins to send temptations. Now, the devil is not God, so he doesn't know everything. And so what he finds is he says, well, let me find what you're sensitive to, what you're weak about. And so he throws temptations maybe in one area. Let's say you have anger, and he'll send some temptation into anger issues in your life. He'll begin to tempt you with anger, tempt your patience to see how quickly you will snap and how you'll fall to the temptation of anger. Now, if he finds you to be okay there, to be strong there, then he'll send temptation in another area. And he may send temptation in the anger of selfishness. Are you selfish? Are you more concerned about yourself and the things going on in your life? And so he'll send things into your life to see how selfish you are. He'll tempt you with selfishness. Do you always want the best? Do you always want the first? Do you always want to be first in line? Is it always only about you? And he'll tempt you with that to see if you will bite the hook of selfishness. If he doesn't find that, then he'll go into another area of your life. And he'll tempt you in the area of pride. Do you feel you're better than someone else because of your education or because of your color or because of your upbringing or because of the finances that you have, because of the car that you drive, because of the place that you live? Does your heart well up with pride? And he'll tempt you in that area of pride. If he doesn't find there, then he's constantly moving on to other areas looking for a weakness. Now, when he finds a weakness, let's say it's the area of lust. When he finds a weakness in your life and he finds you falling to that area, what he does is he marshals his forces against that temptation. And if you fall to that area, then he sends more temptation and more temptation and more temptation. And what he's looking to do is to establish a stronghold in your life. He is looking to build a base camp in your life. So here's the idea. If you have a tendency to have a lustful heart, bad thoughts, lustful actions, then what he does is he'll send something in your life that will feed that lust. And it will become a desire for you. And then he'll feed it some more, and he'll feed it some more, until ultimately what you have in your life is a problem with lust. It may manifest itself with pornography or bad relationships. It'll show itself out in some way, and he's looking to gain control of an area in a piece of your life. Now, I want to share with you, not only does he do this personally, he also does this in the area of a piece of property, of a piece of land. You'll notice that when Jesus came to these demons, they begged him, "Do not send us out of this country." That seems like a strange thing, right? Well, why not? Well, the reason is they had marked out that section of the country for themselves. They were in control, and they had brought about this kind of control over this area. There are areas of our country and of counties and communities that are under specific control. I remember when we were in Mississippi, it seemed two things were incredibly happening on a regular basis. Divorce was rampant. I mean, people got divorced. It seemed like no marriages stood together at all. And then partying was a big deal for children. Every single year we were there for 7 years. Every single year, a teenager died as a result of partying. And the devil was just destroying their lives. There are some in other areas that you'll find people that are addicted to prosperity. And they're addicted to drugs. When we were in Guatemala, they said 18 people a day die in Guatemala through violence. The devil's just wearing them out. And so they'll look to establish a stronghold and take control. Now, when he does that, he is not satisfied just to gain that peace in your life. And so what he does, he begins to send out raiding parties in other areas of your life. And so he says, well, if you've got a lust problem, then maybe you'll have an anger problem or a sloth problem, or maybe you'll have a priority problem. Maybe you don't know how to spend your money. And so he'll start sending out temptations in other areas as well. Now, I want you to understand that an angel or a demon is not able to read your mind. So the way that they figure out what you're sensitive to is by sending you temptation and watching your response to it. There are times you're sitting there watching the television, and there very well may be a demon on the couch next to you watching what you watch. And as you say, well, I'm not really sure what to watch, and you're flipping through the channels, flipping, something catches your eye, and you pause there, and that demon says, That's interesting. I wonder if I send